A powerful alien fleet is sent to Earth, intending to wipe out humanity once and for all. But as they approach, they are met with an unexpected force. The fleet is destroyed before it ever reaches the planet. Humanity has finally made its mark. The Galactic Council had made their decision. Enough was enough. They had underestimated humanity for far too long, and now, after Earth's constant defiance, it was time to send a message. A fleet of the most advanced warships the galaxy had ever seen was mobilized and directed towards Earth. Their mission was simple: destroy humanity once and for all. The Council had waited too long to let this primitive species continue to exist, and this time they would not fail. "We've sent our best," the Berylos Counselor said, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Earth will be obliterated. Let them witness true power." The Vraxa Counselor, whose tentacles trembled with anticipation, nodded. "This time there will be no mercy. Nothing will survive." As the fleet prepared for the final journey, the Council watched with grim satisfaction. The human resistance had been a thorn in their side for too long. This time they would eliminate it. Back on Earth, Captain Jake Hall stood before the command center, watching the alien fleet approach. His face was stone, his jaw clenched tight, but inside there was a quiet storm brewing. They had tried to silence humanity before, and each time Earth had fought back. Now it was his turn to make sure that this time the galaxy would truly learn what it meant to underestimate humans. "Captain, the fleet is closing in," Lieutenant Sanya reported, her voice steady, but there was an underlying tension there. "They're within firing range." Hall turned to her. "How much time until they reach our atmosphere?" "Approximately 20 minutes, sir," Sanya replied, tapping on her console. "We're ready, but their ships are huge. Their technology is, well, it's unlike anything we've ever faced." Hall met her gaze, his voice calm but firm. "We've fought bigger battles. We've won bigger wars. Prepare the pulse. Cannon, we hit them first, no hesitation." The crew began to move, working in perfect synchrony, their actions precise. Humanity's greatest weapon, the pulse cannon, was ready. It had been kept in reserve for this moment, a secret that the Alien Council would never have believed possible. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a war machine, waiting to be unleashed. The alien fleet approached, their ships massive and glowing with deadly intent. The Council had ensured their best weapons were in place. This would be the end of humanity. The ship's weapon systems powered up, and they began to fire on Earth's defenses. The Vraxa Counselor watched with satisfaction, waiting for the signal that would mark Earth's final moments. But then, something strange happened. Their weapons didn't connect. The pulse cannon positioned on Earth's flagship fired in a brilliant flash, slicing through space like a knife through paper. The first alien ship was hit before it could even react. The pulse beam tore through its hull, completely obliterating it in seconds. The ship's energy systems fried, and the rest of the fleet panicked, unsure of what had just happened. This can't be real," the Berylos Counselor gasped, his arrogance vanishing in the face of an unexpected force. "How did they do that?" "Fire again!" the Vraxa Counselor screamed. "Destroy them all!" But it was too late. The second wave of attacks missed their target. Earth's fleet, using its powerful defenses and unmatched technology, struck again. One ship after another crumpled under the force of the pulse weapon. Alien shields failed, and entire fleets were torn apart before they could even think of landing a hit. Hall stood with his hands firmly planted on the controls, his eyes locked on the screen. "They thought it was mercy. It wasn't," he muttered almost to himself. The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships veered off course, trying desperately to retreat, but Earth's war machine was relentless. The pulse cannon fired again, and the remaining fleet was wiped out, reduced to nothing more than burning wreckage. There were no survivors. Back in the Galactic Council's chambers, the alien leaders were silent. The holographic screens that had once projected power now flickered with images of their destroyed fleet. The Krylos counselor looked around the room, his face pale, his arrogance gone. This can't be happening. How did they do this? They were supposed to be a primitive species. They laughed. The Vraxa counselor said softly, his voice breaking with disbelief. Then they stopped. The Krylos counselor clenched his fists. We will rebuild. We cannot let this stand. But for now, we retreat. And so the last remnants of the once proud galactic empire retreated into the vastness of space, leaving behind nothing but wreckage and unanswered questions. The arrogance they had once wielded was gone, replaced with the cold realization that Earth was not the weak, defenseless planet they had thought it to be. On Earth's flagship, Captain Hall stood in silence, watching the alien ships fade into the distance. There was no sense of triumph in his heart, no celebration. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it was capable of, but Earth would never again be underestimated. The message had been sent. We've won today, Hall said, his voice unwavering. But the real challenge is just beginning. We will stand our ground. We will show them that Earth isn't just a target, it's a force. And with that, humanity's silence would no longer be seen as weakness. It would be seen as a warning. The alien council, humiliated by Earth's unexpected defense, scrambles to regroup, plotting their next move. Captain Hall and his crew prepare for the coming retaliation. The war has just begun, and humanity is no longer a forgotten world. The silence in the Galactic Council's chamber was deafening. The once proud alien leaders sat frozen, their eyes wide with disbelief. Their most advanced fleet had been wiped out in seconds. Not even a battle cry had escaped their ships before they were obliterated by the unexpected force from Earth. It was a catastrophic defeat. The humiliation was unbearable. What now? The Krylos counselor whispered, his voice shaking. He had been the one who declared Earth's extinction, the one who had convinced the council that the planet was no more than an annoyance, easily snuffed out. Now he could barely look his colleagues in the eye. The Vraxa counselor slammed, his fist onto the table, his tentacles twitching in anger. We rebuild, and we destroy them. Earth has shown us its teeth, but we will crush them beneath the weight of our might. The others nodded, but their resolve was shaken. The defeat had hit them harder than any of them could have imagined. They had underestimated the humans, thinking their warships, primitive by galactic standards, could never pose a real threat. But humanity had surprised them all. They had not only defended themselves, they had repelled an entire fleet with one strike. Regroup, rearm, and prepare for a second assault, the Vraxa counselor said, though even his voice lacked the usual confidence. We will come back stronger. We will make them pay for their defiance. But deep down, there was an unsettling feeling that this wouldn't be as easy as they had hoped. Earth had not just fought to survive. It had shown the galaxy that humanity was capable of anything. And the Council, for the first time, felt genuine fear. Back on Earth's flagship, Captain Jake Hall stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the now empty void where the alien fleet had once been. The pulse cannon had done its job, but the battle was far from over. The galaxy had seen Earth's power, and now Earth had made an enemy of the most formidable empire in the known universe. The next assault would be relentless, and humanity would need every advantage it could muster. Captain, Lieutenant Sanya's voice broke his thoughts. She stood at the console, scanning the latest reports. The Council is rebuilding there. Remaining forces are already regrouping. They'll be back. We've only delayed the inevitable. Hall turned to face her, his expression hard as stone. I don't plan on waiting for them to come to us. We've made our mark. Now, We show them that Earth is not just a survivor, but a force to be reckoned with. He turned his attention to the crew. They had proven their strength, but now was the time to strengthen their resolve. Prepare the ship for another round of combat readiness. We need to make sure we're ready for what's coming next. If the aliens are bringing their best, then we'll show them ours. Sanya nodded. We'll start reinforcing our weapons systems and upgrade our defenses. We'll need all the power we can get. Hall's eyes flicked over to the tactical map. Make sure we've got eyes on every angle, no surprises. Elsewhere, the alien fleet's remnants began to gather. Alien ships, some undamaged, others, barely held together by emergency patches, drifted back to the Council's home base. They were bruised, beaten, but not broken. The war machine of the Galactic Empire was slow to recover, but it would recover. The Council had resources, and they would use them. The Berylos Councillor sat hunched over a data console, his hands trembling. We've lost the battle, but we still have the war. We have new ships coming online, weapons being forged, and alliances. We can call upon. The Vraxa Councillor, ever the strategist, let out a low growl. We'll have to strike before Earth has time to rebuild. Their technology may be primitive, but it's powerful. And that pulse weapon, it's unlike anything we've ever faced. We must destroy them before they can grow stronger. The Berylos Councillor insisted, trying to mask the fear in his voice. Send a message that no species dares defy the Empire. The Vraxa Councillor nodded. Prepare the fleet. But this time, we won't underestimate them. This time, we'll make sure we finish what we started. Back on Earth's flagship, Hall had no time for celebrations. His mind was sharp, calculating. The defeat of the alien fleet was just the first step. There was no denying the fact that Earth had proven itself, but Hall knew better than to rest on a single victory. They would be coming back with everything they had, and Earth needed to be ready. Sanya entered the command center, holding a data pad. "Captain, there's something you need to see," she said, her voice serious. Hall turned to face her, already knowing it wasn't good news. Sanya activated the pad, and the screen came to life, displaying a series of intercepted communications. "They've sent out a distress signal," Sanya said, pointing at the screen. "The Empire is calling for reinforcements from their allies, and they're moving to repair their fleet." Hall stared at the data. The message was clear. They were planning for another attack. But this time, they wouldn't be going in blind. Earth would be prepared. They couldn't afford to be anything less. "We've got time," Hall said, his voice resolute, "but not much. Prepare the defenses. We've only just started." The clock was ticking. Earth had tasted victory, but the war was far from over. The Alien Council was regrouping, but humanity was stronger than ever. And as the enemy fleet prepared for its next assault, Earth stood ready to make sure the next message sent to the galaxy was clear. This time, humanity would not be underestimated. The silence on Earth's flagship was broken only by the soft hum of systems warming up, preparing for the battle to come. Captain Jake Hall stood at the helm, watching the vast expanse of space through the viewport. The stars shimmered, distant and indifferent, but Hall felt the weight of the galaxy pressing in on him. The pulse cannon had done its job, but that victory felt like a fleeting dream in the face of the storm that was about to hit. Lieutenant Sanya stood next to him, her face set in determination as she read the latest reports. "The alien fleet is regathering," she said, her voice calm, but filled with urgency. "We've intercepted communication. They're consolidating their forces. It's clear they won't stop until we're destroyed." Hall nodded, his gaze never leaving the stars. "They underestimated us before. We won't let that happen again." Back on the remnants of the Galactic Council's flagship, the Berylos, and Vraxa councillors sat in quiet fury. The Vraxa councillor's tentacles twitched with rage as he surveyed the latest fleet status reports. Ships that had been damaged in the first battle were being rebuilt, repaired, and rearmed. The Council was assembling its forces with a single objective in mind: vengeance. "We will crush them," the Vraxa counselor said, his voice cold, filled with bitterness. "This time we'll show them the true might of the Galactic Empire." The Berylos counselor leaned forward, his many-jointed fingers interlaced, his face tight with frustration. "They have shown us something we cannot ignore. Their technology is primitive, but their resolve is strong. We can't afford to underestimate them again." "I agree," the Vraxa counselor replied, his voice tight with controlled anger. "This time we won't just send a fleet. We'll send everything we have, every weapon, every ship. Earth will fall, but it will not fall easily." On Earth's flagship, Hall stood before his crew, every member focused, knowing the gravity of the moment. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight to ensure that Earth's name would be written in the stars forever. The Council would not forget this, and Earth needed to be ready. "We've seen what they can do," Hall began, his voice low but unwavering. "They're coming for us. But this time, we will not be caught off guard. We've shown them once that Earth is not to be underestimated. Now we need to show them that we won't stop, not until we've secured our place in this galaxy." The crew nodded, their faces set in grim determination. They had fought for survival before, but this was different. This wasn't just a defense. This was about taking the fight to the enemy, ensuring that Earth was never again seen as weak or vulnerable. "We're ready, Captain," Sanya said, her voice steady, despite the uncertainty that hung in the air. "The pulse cannon is online. Our ships are armed, and we've reinforced our defenses." Hall glanced over at the tactical display, where alien ships were already closing in. The enemy fleet was massive, a wall of steel and firepower, a show of overwhelming force. But Earth had faced worse odds before, and just as before, humanity would find a way. "We've got one shot," Hall said, his eyes scanning the fleet. "On the screen. If we can take down their command ship, the rest will crumble. But we'll have to hit them fast before they have a chance to retaliate." As the alien fleet neared Earth's atmosphere, Hall's crew scrambled to prepare. The atmosphere on the ship was tense, every crew member focused, every action a calculated step toward survival. The countdown had begun. They had only moments before the first wave of alien ships reached firing range. "Captain," Sanya said, her voice tight with urgency, "they're within range. They've launched their first wave of attacks. They're coming in hard. Target their lead ship," Hall ordered. "Fire the pulse cannon, full power." The pulse cannon powered up, its energy crackling with deadly potential. The ship shuddered as the cannon released its devastating charge. The bright beam shot out, cutting through the void with terrifying speed. The alien command ship, the heart of their fleet, took the brunt of the blast. For a moment it looked like Earth's weapon would hit its mark. The command ship shuddered, its shields buckling under the force of the pulse. But then a surge of energy flared on the screen, a desperate attempt to reinforce their defenses. "Damage report," Hall barked. "We hit them hard, but their shields held," Sanya replied. "They've reinforced with auxiliary power from their secondary fleet. It's going to take more than that." "We don't have more time," Hall said, his voice steady, but filled with the weight of what was to come. "We go in closer. We hit them with everything we've got." The crew worked swiftly, readying the secondary weapons, preparing for the next phase of the attack. Outside the flagship, the alien fleet had begun to react. Their ships had not expected Earth's pulse cannon to be so powerful. They had expected an easy victory, but now they were faced with the same surprise that had caught them off guard before. The Vraxa counselor watched through his view screen, his face contorted with disbelief. "They hit us harder than expected," the Berylos counselor muttered. "We need to break them before they can strengthen their defenses." The Vraxa counselor clenched his fists. "We'll make them regret ever defying us. We'll send everything we have, and we'll burn their world to the ground." Back aboard Earth's flagship, the tension was unbearable. The countdown to impact was running out, and Hall knew this would be their final stand. If they couldn't Take down the command ship now. Humanity might not survive another attack. All hands, brace for impact, Hall ordered. This is our time. We fight or we die. As the enemy closed in, Hall's heart pounded, but his mind was clear. The galaxy had no idea what Earth was capable of, and by the time this battle was over, neither would they. The future of humanity was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Earth's silence had ended, and the galaxy would never forget what had happened here. The tension on Earth's flagship was palpable. Every crew member stood at their station, ready for the fight of their lives. The alien fleet, massive and relentless, had gathered all their strength for a final strike. The enemy command ship, its hull crackling with reinforced shields, loomed large on the tactical display. But Earth's pulse cannon was ready, and the crew was determined. "Captain," Lieutenant Sanya's voice came through, calm but filled with urgency. "The fleet's closing in. They've adjusted their formation. It's a full-on assault. We'll be in firing range in less than 5 minutes." Hall's eyes flicked to the viewport, where the alien ships glided closer, like a massive wave crashing toward Earth. This was the final strike, and humanity's survival depended on their ability to hit first. His mind raced through every strategy, every countermeasure, but there was no time left for hesitation. He turned to his crew. "Ready the secondary weapons," Hall ordered. "This is it. We have one shot to take out their command ship. If we fail, Sanya interrupted, "we'll make them regret underestimating us." She looked him in the eye, determination set in her features. Hall nodded. "Exactly. Make sure all systems are primed. We fire the moment we're in range." The alien fleet, growing ever closer, prepared its weapons. The Council had underestimated Earth's resilience before, but now they were determined to end it all. They had seen Earth's pulse cannon tear through their ships once, but now they were ready. This time, they had reinforced their fleets with experimental technologies that Earth had never seen. They would wipe humanity off the map once and for all. The Berylos Councillor's eyes narrowed as he watched the approaching Earth ship. "This time, we will not fail. Every ship, every weapon, aim for their flagship. We will bring it down." The Vraxar Councillor stood beside him, his tentacles twitching with anticipation. "This ends here. Let them burn." Hall's grip tightened, on the edge of the command console as the alien ships neared. The countdown was ticking, and the pulse cannon, their most powerful weapon, was charged and ready. His crew worked like a well-oiled machine, every hand moving with precision. "They were ready, Captain," Sanya said, her voice calm but urgent. "The enemy is within range. They're preparing to fire." "Return fire," Hall barked, his voice unwavering. "Target their command ship." The pulse cannon powered, up with a deep rumbling hum, its energy levels surging with destructive potential. The alien ships fired first, their weaponry lashing out with terrifying intensity. But Earth's war machine was faster. The pulse cannon's beam shot out in a blinding flash, tearing through the dark vacuum of space. It struck the alien command ship with terrifying accuracy. The impact was immediate. The command ship's shields crumpled, and its hull began to fracture. Explosions rippled across its surface, sending shockwaves through the surrounding fleet. A brilliant flash lit up the void as the alien ship disintegrated, its remains scattering in every direction. "Yes," Sanya shouted, her voice full of disbelief. "We hit them. The command ship is gone." But the battle wasn't over. The alien fleet, though damaged, had not been completely destroyed. The remaining ships regrouped, their weapons charged for another attack. But they were disorganized now, and their coordination faltered. "Don't stop now," Hall commanded, his eyes locked on the screen. "Hit them with everything we've got. They're vulnerable." The crew fired again, unleashing a devastating barrage. One by one, the alien ships were torn apart by the relentless assault. They fought back, but it was clear that their strategy had collapsed. They were no longer a unified force. They were a desperate, scattered fleet trying to hold on to the little hour they had left. Back in the council chambers, the remaining alien leaders watched in stunned silence. Their command ship was gone. The rest of their fleet was in chaos. The berryless counselor clenched his fists, his face twisted with rage. "This can't be happening," he muttered. "We were supposed to crush them. They've done it." The Braxar counselor said softly, his voice full of disbelief. "They've won." On Earth's flagship, the battle raged on. The alien fleet was falling apart, but Hall knew better than to think they had won. The galaxy had witnessed Earth's might, but the war was not over. Not yet. "We've still got work to do," Hall said, turning to his crew. "We take this one step at a time. They'll come back, but we've shown them that Earth will never be an easy target again." The crew nodded, their faces set in grim determination. The pulse cannon fired once more, and the last remnants of the alien fleet were eradicated. The war had ended, but the message had been sent. Earth was no longer a planet to be ignored. Humanity had proven its strength. As the last of the alien ships disintegrated, Captain Hall stood at the helm, his heart steady but his mind calculating the future. The galaxy had learned the hard way. Earth was not just a survivor. It was a force that could no longer be silenced. The war was over, but humanity's place in the galaxy had only just begun.